Miguel was really acting like a Tyler Perry villain this entire weekend. What's wrong with you? Welcome to La Vida Rosa. I'm your host, Pinky, and today we're going to be talking about Married at First Sight. Like, comment, and subscribe. Without further ado, let's get into this video. Y'all, you know what's sad? The retreat episode, as well as like the honeymoons, the wedding day, I don't know, the halfway decision day that they've done a few seasons have tended to be great episodes. I mean, like, promises some good drama, right? This episode almost felt like a filler episode. I mean, is it because Morgan and Ben are gone? I mean, I don't miss them. I don't want them to come back. I'm glad they're gone. But it just felt very dry. Even though we had the arguments and the fights, it just, oh my goodness, it drug on, and it didn't make sense half the time. So maybe that's what was irritating me. And then the other couples were not really giving. You know, everybody was trying to play kumbaya. Maybe because I didn't want to argue in front of everybody else. I don't know. They did the little prom night where everybody dressed up. That was cute. And they did the little yearbooks, which I thought was adorable. And, you know, they gave out the superlatives, you know, the awards or whatever. So let me go ahead and start with Stasha and Nate. Like, absolutely nothing hardly happened with Stasha and Nate. The only thing we got from Stasha and Nate this episode is that they're freaks. That's pretty much all we got from Stasha and Nate. Really don't even want to go into depth with talking about it because it kind of makes me uncomfortable. I mean, the little whole panty thing they did at the table where everybody was just sitting there. Like, I was with Mitch. Like, that's a next level kink thing to do. Like, don't do that while I'm at the table with you. I know that's something that people do, but I feel like y'all are doing this without my consent. And I'm uncomfortable. You know what's even crazier? From the jump, I was giving Nate the side eye, and I still do to a certain degree, but I don't have any like real hardcore proof to do it. He's actually been the best husband this season. Like, he really has. He hasn't given me that, aha, I knew it. He hasn't given me that, I told you so much. He just hasn't done it yet. And we're almost to decision day. I still stand by the fact that I think there's some scammer vibes going on. I think he's just extremely good at it. But so far, I mean, Nate says what we're all thinking. Nate does not hold back in these confessionals. He was right about Morgan. He's right about Alexis. They was going in on Alexis. They was going in. Him and Stasha was going in on Alexis. They was basically saying that she's messy and that she basically doesn't really want Justin. Like, they didn't say it in those words, but they implied it. And I'm just like, well, we all feel like that. So other than providing commentary that was like affirming to the audience and showing how freaky they were, they didn't really offer much this episode. Let's move on to Kristen and Mitch. Now, Kristen and Mitch, they had a huge blowout last episode where I stood up and I clapped for Kristen. I was so happy for her, not only not accepting the BS from Mitch, but also not accepting the psychobabble from Dr. Pepper. I hate to say that because I really do like Dr. Pepper, but we could tell y'all are just saying whatever y'all have to say to keep these people on this show. So I'm glad she didn't accept that from her. Like, look, I'm not accepting just anything. You're gonna have to actually care about me for me to stick around. Other than that, I'm not finna morph into whoever it is you think you want me to be. Okay, I'm not a hippie. All right, I like to wear a little makeup and I like to flip houses. What's up? Do you want to be with me or not? But in the car on the way to the retreat, she ended up apologizing for how she confronted him. Not necessarily what she said, because she said she was glad she confronted him because she ended up getting what she wanted out of him, compliments or for him to express himself. But I'm just like, every time he compliments you or you get him to open up a little bit, it's because you provoked him into it. He hasn't done that unprovoked once. You know what I'm saying? And when he does say nice things about you, they're just bare minimum. Like, girl, like, I don't understand. I really don't get it. Like, you were standing your ground last episode. You had it, and now you're apologizing for how you said it. And I don't even think how she said it was out of line. She wasn't hollering and screaming. She was just putting her foot down. Like, I was just so over it. Like, he really played the victim in this situation, and she allowed him to. Because he was like, I felt attacked and I felt thrown under the bus. So basically he was being defensive, and he was like basically saying that her sister took it the wrong way, and he never wanted to be the husband to try to change her. And he claims he doesn't want to try to control her, but your actions say differently. Like, yes, you are trying to control her. You want her to be an environmentalist just like you, okay? You want her to wear less makeup and walk around with no shoes and be dirty like you. I'm sorry, you do. That's one thing that Alexis and Justin were right about. You want a hippie, you do. You are trying to change her. Is he just not that self-aware, or is he just that manipulative? I'm still trying to figure it out. A part of me feels like he's just not self-aware at all, and he's just so self-absorbed that he really can't see himself for who he actually is. I feel like he doesn't really care about Kristen or getting to know her, who she is as a person. So just let it go. Let's cut our losses. So I told y'all they had the prom or whatever, and during the prom she's announcing the superlative awards, and she came down to this award that was like, who is most likely to have several divorces? And she gave this long preface of, you know, that's not necessarily a bad thing. That's just mean you jump into love and you're not afraid to love. And then finally, everybody knew she was talking about herself. Look, I'm not mad at her for saying that, because I feel like she's very self-aware. At this point, you probably will have a lot of divorces the way that you interact with your partners, and you just accept anything, but then at the same time you want to have standards. Like, I feel like you should have standards before you jump into a relationship. At the same time, this is cringy and it's inappropriate. You shouldn't do this. You shouldn't do it. You shouldn't do it. And I'm not even team Mitch. I don't like Mitch. But for you to do this in front of everybody, it was very embarrassing. And if he were to do this to you, you would have been devastated. So that made the whole room feel uncomfortable. Like, what are we supposed to do now? Like, how are we supposed to go on about our day today when you just did that? Then at the end of the episode, she was clowning Mitch. She dressed up like him. She put a little scarf on her head to make herself look bald, and she was clowning him. It was so funny, but this time around it wasn't cringe, because, you know, he actually was laughing along with her, and the whole time she was like, okay, tell me when to stop, I don't want to go too far. So that was actually funny, and he, you know, he really enjoyed it, because like I said, he's so self-absorbed. He anything that's about him, he's gung-ho. He loves it. I think they might say yes on decision day, but in the long run, they're just not gonna work. They're just fundamentally different, and Mitch is all about Mitch. Okay, let's talk about Alexis and Justin. They finally consummated the marriage, and Justin cannot stop cheesing, okay? He trying to downplay, oh no, I'm not acting different. Oh, we, you know, didn't that change? But you definitely cheesing a lot more than what you were. So stop playing. Stop trying to act like you ain't moved, because you definitely are, honey. In fact, the heavens and the earth was moved for you, honey. You are glowing. Stop it. And Alexis just doesn't seem moved at all. Even later on, when she was talking to the ladies, and the ladies asked her, you know, well, you know, how was it for you? And she's just like, you know, as long as my husband is pleased, then that's all that matters. And it's like, girl, you might as well just talk down on the man's name. You might as well. She was telling him he couldn't even unhook her bra. It's just like, it's like little digs she takes at him that lets me know you really don't like him. Like, you're really not good at hiding the fact that you don't like this man. You dog him out too much. Like, you try to act like you're not dogging him out. You try to disguise it as jokes or whatever, but you dog him out. And then she straight up told him that he lacks stamina and confidence in bed. So, girl, anyway, they went on a date, and she asked him, has the energy changed for him? Because, you know, he's been cheesing and grinning. She rocked his world, okay? And you know, once again, he just like, nah, like nothing changed, just whatever. Like, come on, stop, because we can all see it. You know, she boiled your potato. Do y'all remember that episode of Living Single when Kyle sang My Funny Valentine to Max? That's one of my favorite episodes. During the whole performance, Max was just like going crazy, like she couldn't hide it. And then at the end, she was trying to act like, oh, whatever. It was nothing. You know, I don't care. And Sinclair was like, Max, you know he boiled your potato. He said he feels like they won't experience everything they need to move forward in the 8 weeks. And she says she doesn't have to experience everything in order to know whether she wants to be with him long term. And I'm just like, girl, please. You told us you always run from relationships. You've been proposed to several times. You're a commitment phobe, pretty much. And now all of a sudden, now that you're married to Justin, like, it doesn't matter. Like, none of that stuff matters to you anymore. Like, you just know now, girl, please. Like, don't nobody believe that. So he's trying to protect his feelings because he's scared she's going to leave him. And I think that's a very accurate assessment on his part, because I don't know, nothing about her comes off as genuine to me anymore. So I feel like he feels that too, and you know, he's out of la la land. He realizes that. I think that's why he's trying to act so cool about them consummating too, because he knows it's not gonna last much longer, and he doesn't want to feel stupid once it's all said and done. Oh, I forgot to mention, they voted Alexis biggest gossip, and they said basically because she blew up somebody's whole marriage. She got people divorced. Yo, big mouth got people divorced, Alexis. Dang, blew up a whole marriage. And like on after party, she low-key blamed Justin. Like, she was like, people forget that if Justin had not told me, or that had not been on speakerphone, then how would I know? Yeah, Justin runs his mouth too much too, or he was a little bit too open with you too. He should have known better than to let you hear something like that. But it's still on you for running and telling Morgan. Just like Stasha said, you should have told Justin to tell Ben you need to talk to your wife. But instead, you ran with whatever information that you heard and you told it, which was very messy. And then she also said, well, you know, I can't help it that people like to come and talk to me and tell me stuff. Do people like to come and tell you stuff, or do you pry into people's business by telling your own information so you can hear theirs? Because I feel like people do that kind of stuff all the time, like tell all their business just so they can get yours. Girl, Alexis, you know you messy. Don't try to sugarcoat it and make it any better. We can all see it, okay? Let's get to Lindy and Miguel. I'm going to start this off by saying I do feel like he has one of those jobs that kind of takes everything out of him, because I've been seeing that Miguel and Lindy have not been featured as much as the other couples, and I feel like that's because of his job, and maybe he works a lot, or maybe he's like really tired when he gets off work. I've always felt like that was because of his job. And then right before this, they had that fake baby that they gave them, and so on top of that, that's something else that would cause you to be stressed out, you know, on top of your job, you know, stressing you out. So none of this is excusing his behavior by any means, but you could look at him and tell that he was drained. So I will give him that. That's something that he said during the episode, and I believe him on that, because he looked like the life was sucked out of him and he was on his last leg. Before they even left for the retreat, they had planned a prom for Lindy, and he bought her this really nice, beautiful sequin dress that they saw at the costume shop, and it looked amazing on Lindy. So they get to the retreat, and this was right before the prom. Lindy is in her beautiful dress, and she wants pictures. She doesn't want like a selfie picture. She wants like back camera HD sunlight, okay? As a micro influencer, I know exactly what she's talking about. I don't want one of these bad quality pictures. I want everybody to see the fullness of my glow, okay? I want crisp. And yes, as a partner, you are going to be a photographer. Yes, you are. Get used to it. You should have never got with me. And from what we heard, yes, Mindy was a little whiny, but I don't think it was as over the top as he was making it. Yes, she probably could read the room and see that the man was tired. He didn't feel like it. So, you know, maybe ask somebody when we get down to the party. But he just really, really went off. Like, he was like, don't expect me to be your personal photographer. And then even when they got to the party, he still could not let it go. He was saying he didn't like that she was being so demanding. And she said that she thought that, you know, she was kind of like joking around with him. But he feels like she's gaslighting because she wasn't joking. She was dead serious. And basically, she was like, I was joking until I realized that you weren't joking. And then I got serious. You know what I'm saying? I could see where Lindy was coming from with that. He felt like she was using a tone and was being serious. And she just doesn't want to take ownership over her behavior. And she owned up to the... she finally owned up to the fact that she was embarrassed and heard that, you know, she wanted him to take part in the moment, and she felt stupid for asking him, because sometimes you can feel stupid for asking people to take a picture, but your own husband you should never feel that way with. So I could understand where she was coming from with that as well. I felt like it was just a huge miscommunication, but I also feel like the argument could have waited. Like, they had this whole prom because of Lindy. She never went to prom, so they, you know, threw her a prom. And you are ruining it. This conversation didn't have to happen right then and there. You could have put your feelings to the side for the night. That was so rude of him to, like, try to ruin her night and take away her happiness. That, like, look, y'all know I've been on Miguel's side for the most part, because I feel like Lindy is Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. But she really didn't do nothing wrong for what I could see. Like, and then you tried to ruin her night. That wasn't cool. And at this point, I felt like maybe he was overreacting to her because of her past behavior. And, but at the same time, like, table it until tomorrow, because this was her day. Okay, so then the next day, they went on a carriage ride. Miguel, I don't know, was he trying to rap or was he saying a poem? Because the way he was saying, he wasn't reciting it like it was a poem. It sounded like he was trying to rap. And then he's like, well, it's better with a beat. Was he doing spoken word, child? I don't know what he was doing. As he was doing it, she was over talking him, like, ooh, look at the bunny. Ooh, look at this, look at that. The thing is, Miguel, I ain't gonna lie, I don't like when people talk over me. Like, if we're talking and you interrupt me and say something frivolous, like, ooh, look at the bunny, or ooh, it's hot in here, or like something silly that is interrupting my conversation, and I just feel like you're just trying to change the subject or avoid what I'm saying or shut me up. Yeah, I get hot like that too. I ain't gonna lie, I get mad like that too. I've done that several times, but I feel like that wasn't the right time and place for you to be reciting your poetry on a carriage ride. No, the whole point of a carriage ride is to take in the scenery. You know, it's like romantic. Yeah, you have like little, maybe you might have little banter here and there, but for someone like Lindy, she likes a carriage ride because she likes to take everything in. And you were trying to do it, whatever it is that you wanted to do, when, you know, they could have waited. You could have waited till you got to the table to do that. You know what I'm saying? I also feel like Lindy probably was trying to, like, give you a hint that that's not what she wants to do right now without actually saying it. Like, she wanted to, like, you know, let me look at everything. Let's take everything in. Because she kept saying, like, okay, yeah, I really like it. I really like your poem. I really like it. Even though, let's be honest, it wasn't that good. And your nerdy side was really coming out. Like, that's what happens when you get with a nerd. Sometimes they be nerdy at awkward moments. I get it. But I feel like in a nice way, she was trying to let you know, like, look, this is not, let's do this another time. He got all the way in his feelings, and he told her, you know, you was talking over me, and I'm tired of this. And, you know, basically what he was telling her before. And, you know, she starts crying because she feels like she can't do nothing right with you. She feel like she can't do nothing right. It's like she has to tiptoe around him because she gonna step on a mine. It's gonna blow up. She don't know, like, she doesn't know how to act around you because you're being so, everything is a problem, right? So she started crying and she got up and walked away. He did not look fazed at all at that table, but he did end up apologizing to her when she came back, and She just feels like she's always trying to please him. He said that she blew up, and in that moment she was not blowing up. She was crying, she was emotional, and while crying is a little bit over the top, that's just how she reacted, right? You could tell that she's a crier, and I don't think she was crying to manipulate the situation. I think she was just really that upset. And she was like, if he thought that was a blow up, you ain't gonna be able to handle a real blow up. And we still waiting on that, Lindy. So once they got back to the retreat and they, you know, changed their outfits and they got dressed again, Lindy asked someone else, I'm pretty sure like a producer or maybe some of the staff on the show, to take her picture, and he got offended. This is what she means by she feel like she can't do nothing right, because you just have this crabby attitude. You basically tried to ruin her prom over the fact that she asked you to take a picture for her. So now she's trying to learn from that. She asked someone else to take your picture, and you're mad about that. It really wasn't even that serious. She was trying to avoid another confrontation. And you know, basically he confronted her like, why didn't you ask me? I'll take your picture. Why didn't you ask me? She was like, because of what happened last night, that's why. And he basically was trying to have an attitude with her, and she was like, look, trying to calm everything down, like I don't want it to be this again. So she was like, please give me a hug, and he wouldn't even hug her, and he was like, yeah, I'm not feeling connected to you. And that's when he unleashed his cold side. Like that's when I started saying, oh, you nasty, you're mean too, like you have your ways too, you are really that's when that honeymoon Miguel came out. We caught a glimpse of him on a honeymoon. If you don't want to be with her, just say that. At this point, when he started this argument, I was like, oh, you just don't want to be with her no more, and you trying to pick every fight that you can so that you can leave this relationship and not look like the bad guy. It's crazy when they kept showing the preview for this particular moment where she bust out crying and left. I always thought Lindy was probably most likely being over the top in this moment, but girl, I wouldn't have bust out crying, but I would have unleashed. That's one of the times where I would have let Miguel have it. The whole retreat would have heard how I felt about you in this moment. I would have blew that house up. I would have blew it up. Because I'm not having this. I'm about to give you what you want. I think he was trying to push that ticking time bomb, and I would have gave him exactly what he wanted in that moment. Baby, and when I tell you that Lindy was crying, she wasn't just crying, she was sobbing at this moment. Like it was coming down. And so he went in the bathroom and he consoled her once again. Like, none of this matters to me. None of this matters. All this apologizing that he did the entire time, it doesn't matter. If you're going to continue on with the same behavior, you might as well stand in it. Because you apologize and you go back and you do the exact same thing. Because he consoled her in the bathroom. And then when they went downstairs and they talked about it in front of all the other couples, he took responsibility for how he was acting and everything. But then they played dodgeball the next day. And he literally picks another fight over a dodgeball game because she was talking trash. And literally everybody was talking to her, but you're my wife and you should have my back and we're on the same team. And she's like, literally, right now, we're not on the same team. Girl, Lindy, I felt your frustration. And once again, he had Lindy crying this entire weekend. And what was so funny to me is when she sat down with Alexis, Nate, and Mitch. And at first, Nate and Mitch, they were fully participating in the conversation talking about Miguel. But when Lindy just broke down crying, Nate's face took me out. I was screaming. Nate doesn't know how to deal with emotion. But yeah, Miguel was really acting like a Tyler Perry villain this entire weekend. What's wrong with you? I just could not take it. He was being so mean for no reason. And Lindy has not been my favorite at all. So for me to be fully defending Lindy, something was off with him. He don't want to be with her anymore. Just man up and say it. Man up and say it. Be honest. Let her know. And just cut your losses early. Because I'm so tired of y'all. Both of y'all getting on my nerves. But you this weekend, that was so uncalled for. Anyway, y'all let me know how y'all felt about this episode down below. I would love to hear your opinion. Do you agree with me? Do you not agree with me? And I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in my next one. Peace.